If you're ever wondering, Dusty, why are you holding XRP? Please take a look at this list. Alex decided to put together just some of the connections that XRP has got. And I'm not going to read this out loud because it takes too much time, but it's a good realization for the people what we're banking on, all right? You get the pun? No, but in all seriousness, these are all publicly known, confirmed partners of Ripple. Not even a full list though. If you would rather invest in Shiba Inu, Doge, or Pepe, that's on you. But I don't think anybody is gonna have anything negative to say anymore if you really start diving into the partnerships that these guys have got. Before I move on, guys, make sure you go ahead and press that like button on the video. You've got nothing to lose, so make sure you press that button. And I think really, when you start looking at this, it's an eye-opener for the people just what is coming. I've said it many times before, I'm a big fan of saying, hey, $50 is not that crazy. And I've even said it in one of my videos even earlier today. And I mean, I've seen people go on to Twitter to state, oh, but Ripple working on these CBDCs is such a bad thing. But let me reiterate again. If you knew some revolution was going to happen, right? And you've got the choice. You want to be with it or against it? Which one would you choose? Well, you'd rather be with it because things are changing. So it's better that it's changing on top of your platform, being Ripple is creating a platform for CBDCs to run on the XP Ledger, rather than just a completely somebody else's system, if it is coming anyway. I know I might sound like a maniac when I say that, because I'm actually completely against CBDCs as a concept, but I do know that governments do understand digital currencies and controlling the herd is going to be a massive thing. Trust me when I say they will always try in their best way to control you, and that's why they will never allow you to fully control your own money. Even though some of us have found a way to take control, complete ownership of our money, they will never support it fully. There will always be this underlying concept of, no, just use where we can control the money, where we can stop it, where we can make sure you don't get access to your money if we don't want you to have access, etc., etc., etc. And so, if we know it's coming, well, then rather I invest in the technology that could be the base layer for it, right? Which again could be the XRP ledger. But in all seriousness, just go ahead and look around. All these different central banks are looking into creating this base layer. I should actually say that differently. All these different central banks are looking into creating these currencies, looking for different ways. And if Ripple can be the background or one of the base layers, yeah, it's just absolutely huge. Anyway, let's quickly listen to this 40-second clip. I think it's very interesting.
Not only is there this token XRP, here's what we, Ripple, can do for you. And the creepy thing that I don't like about Ripple personally is that they're helping governments develop central bank digital currencies, which is evil. But that's part of the pitch that they're doing, right? So that's why it does look like, well, it looks like a certain amount of control being exerted by Ripple over how XRP can even function as a token within what Ripple's really trying to develop for the institutional investor. So the pitch deck really was different for them. And, you know, that made sense to me.
That guy you just heard speaking is Warren Davidson. He's actually one of the guys that's been really in the forefront, fighting Gary Gensler, trying to get him to be fired, literally. But the XRP community was not so happy with him. DAI said he finally says it. The same congressman who never would call for an investigation of ETHgate, corruption, despite all the video evidence and timelines, is now calling Ripple evil after their SEC victory. Warren Davidson, wow. CBDCs are no different than any other technology like nuclear. They can be used for good, for evil, and this is just shameful. And now people, of course, the moment you start attacking the XRP community, they come right at you, right at your door. So a lot of the XP community went on to find out a lot about his connections. Similarly as what happened with Bill Hinman. And now he's being found out a little bit, which is definitely interesting. Moon Lambo had this to say. Well, you've illustrated your ignorance about XRP, the XP Ledger, and what work Ripple is doing with both institutional clients and central banks. You said verbatim, it looks like a certain amount of control being exerted by Ripple over how XRP can even function as a token within what Ripple's really trying to develop for the institutional investors. Ripple has no special permissions over XRP or the XP Ledger because it is decentralized. They do not get to choose whether or not institutional investors have exposure to XRP or what form of interaction with any XRP may take. Zero. XRP has nothing to do with the Ripple CBDC work. The public XRP ledger is not the same thing as what the CBDCs on a private version of it would be built on. Let's put down a baseline though. I've been reading this for a long time now, and my personal thoughts on the matter is I'm not a big fan of CBDCs because I understand the system. I understand CBDCs are not there to help you, period. They're there to keep control over you. However, as I said, I think any company trying to build the fundamentals for that is freaking genius because, well, that's good motherfucking money. And at the end of the day, they can also hopefully then try to help keep control in making things more so available to the public in the sense of that it can be more open, so to speak. I mean, if all these partners on the CBDC are all private and everything is behind all these coded doors, you're not going to be able to know what is, what isn't allowed. But if it's sort of open source to a certain degree, yeah, people can know the permissions, people can know the rules of everything, which could be good. However, here's another thought, right? Let's just say that Ripple does get to play a major role in all of this. Don't you think as well, if they're that high up, that they can build the fundamentals for a new financial system based upon central bank digital currencies, they can do a lot in just traditional cross-border payments as well, which again could be huge for XRP. I'm just thinking out loud. But if they can really get to the bottom of the new financial system through these controllable CBDCs, I think they can do a lot for XRP too. Now again, I don't think Ripple has the biggest influence over the XRP price, but they do help out with the XRP and XRP Ledger utility. So just gonna be honest, yeah, they can help. And now, I'm not really a big fan of taking all these older documents. I mean, many people say XRP is destined for this, that. And here, I liked some stuff, even though I don't think this is a good guy to follow. I'm going to be honest with you. I always keep it 100 with my peoples. The reason I'm saying that is because he's making things sound as if they just happened, making people really excited, but they're not. Anything he's sharing here are very old pieces everybody knew about for a while that were skeptical at best, and he's like rehashing them as if he's just found out about them. So boom, Rothschild and XRP. Report by Edmond de Rothschild Fund, managed by the wealthiest family in the world. Again, I'm not sure if the Rothschilds are actually still the wealthiest family in the world because it's been a little while since they had all the power. I honestly don't think, and this is just my own thoughts, right? Take it with a grain of salt, but I don't think that any of us know about the richest or wealthiest family in the world. I think it would be too easy if it was the Rothschilds, so to speak, right? It'd be too easy. I don't think you know exactly who's at the top of the top in terms of power because they probably don't want it that way. Just think about that. To continue on though, they mentioned Ripple and XRP as key contributors in this little section. And another one was Ripple has been communicating with the Reserve Bank of New Zealand for building CBDCs utilizing the XRP ledger. XRP has taken over the world. Mass adoption is coming. And I did like actually one post that he put up. You know, a lot of people are asking, why are you so excited about CBDCs? Well, I'm not. But even if you're against everything, it's better to be at the investing part or the benefactor of this newer, stupid, controllable, but newer system regardless. Some people on the CBDC race are also saying this. Huber said, I really don't understand all the outrage about CBDCs, but the bankers probably fight it too. Do people really believe that today, if the government wants to, JP Morgan won't block your funds without batting an eye and hand over all the information to them? In fact, I would argue that it's much more likely that JP Morgan will block your funds than a government would. Not sure about that. But well, we're talking about the land of the free here. The idea there being that at the end of the day, a CBDC is not going to change that much because even if they're tied to a social credit score or whatever, it's almost the same as having money into a bank account, right? It's only the problem when they start to get rid of cash completely. But at the end of the day, if you've got the dollar, you're within their system, right? And even people put up that a CBDC would allow for so much transparency that the moment people are against it, they're the suspicious ones. And many people have said the biggest pros and the biggest cons, or against it basically, the people that are really in front of it and people that are really against it, are all within the government. And it's basically pick your poison. Both are bad. Which one are you going to choose? You're against it. Why are you against it, right? Because some of your shenanigans that you did privately can't happen anymore? Or why are you in front of it? Because you want to control the people? Both are valid arguments to make. But I'd say we don't really know when CBDCs roll out fully. What exactly will change? Perhaps it's going to be more good for transparency and make things a lot less frictionful and help out a lot of people that have banking issues right now because, well, there's a lot more interoperability. I mean, we all know this space is revolutionizing. Visa put this up yesterday. Payment giant Visa has finalized. What did I just do? Oh, I put the link. Visa tests a way to make paying Ethereum gas fees easier. Their idea is to pay these fees with fiat currency through some sort of card payments. And it's kind of like a funny piece of saying, perhaps the way we are thinking about how these things will all come to light are really just fragilely archaic. What I mean with that is, right now, the way we conceptualize how the future would look like is just our small minds. You don't know what you don't know, right? I put that up really often. But in reality, you don't know from a tech perspective as well just how crazy things can get within a couple years from now. And anyway, before I start venting for another hour, take a look at this video.
So I just had a very interesting conversation with the CEO of Uphold, Simon McLaughlin. And I asked him straight up, do you think that any U.S. payment providers or institutions are going to go live with XRP sometime in the next year? And he just said, simply put, inevitable adoption is about to happen in the United States, and other countries have already been ahead, but he believes that the United States is actually going to have clear rules once we finally get our act together and Congress gives us regulations. So very interesting conversation. I'm going to be airing.
It's not really news. Maybe it's something to make you realize, though, that even like what I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. I sometimes think about this in the U.S. context as well. The U.S., as of this point, has for a lot of people been a major letdown. I've seen so many people say they've given up on XRP or are thinking of giving up, mostly on the basis that it's just not been performing the way they had expected it to perform, or that the price should have been at some crazy higher point. And I keep saying, perhaps it really is more of a strategy game than meets the eye. I mean, Ripple is not stupid. Their best interest would be for the XRP price to go up like crazy. And so the fact that the XP price is not at the freaking moon makes me think, even though it's supposed to basically be at least a significant amount higher, makes me realize that there really, most likely, is something keeping them from letting the price appreciate, so to speak. I mean, if you think about it, these guys have been suppressed in the US for so long, and it was only a small market share for them beforehand, but now that the regulations are clearer and XRP is the only properly regulated crypto, wouldn't that make sense if instead of only being 10-15% of their entire business, 5 to 15%, I don't remember, for it to all of a sudden get to 50%, if not more, because the US is a pretty big corridor, right? And now the rules are quote unquote clear. Then again, I keep referring back and thinking back to the matter of the fact that Ethereum right now is in an unclear position because they did have investment contracts. We all know that, and I can prove it. So people are worried, is it eventually that the SEC is going to turn on all of those as well? So that a lot of these institutions right now are waiting with crypto to kind of see how that comes along. And that's also keeping Ripple on the back. I don't know. But then I always think back to this little list or list of the sort and think, man, regardless of price, they're onto some freaking shizzles, man. They've been putting the work in for these years. We're not seeing it back in almost any of these banks, but they got the connections, and it makes me think, what are they cooking for all of it to take so quote-unquote long? What are they cooking up, and why, and what? It's so peculiar to me. I keep thinking about that. And I want to remind every single one of you again that I'm not only holding XRP. I hold multiple different cryptos because all serve a different purpose. But for the banking sector, I don't think there's anyone better than XRP. And as long as our projections play out, even if only a small percent of it plays out, we're onto some freaking liquid gold, man. Or I should say digital gold. Holy smokes. This list still surprises me. It's still something that's like staggering. I don't think about XRP as a short-term thing. I think about it for the long-term, revolutionizing the space. And from that perspective, this list just kind of hypes me up again to realize just what I'm holding. And yeah, let me know down below if you agree with my thoughts or completely disagree. The whole CBDC issue is a difficult one, but it's something that I think is interesting to talk about. But I just wanted to quickly let you know why I'm holding XRP. Yeah, this is it. At least this is a good part of it. Yeah, that's about it.